Hello and welcome to TheProPlebNoob, and welcome back to FNaF FRICKBEAR'S 3. And in case you couldn't tell by the title, or the thumbnail, or the fact that we're back here in the first place, then yes, that means we have done the 40-20 mode. Not the max mode, 47-20, still gotta try and do, but we have done the 40-20 mode, which you will see later on in the video. It was a doozy. There's a lot of attempts, a lot of tries, but we did it, man. We did it. But first, I want to run through kind of like the journey that it took to get there. Because the run itself, like, it's kind of a disservice to the entire journey of trying to get to the 40-20 to just show the winning run, and that's it. Because I tried, so many options, so many strategies. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go in... We're going to go into the 20 mode. We're going to give ourselves freeze temperature and jump scare immunity. And I'm going to also mute these guys because they are very loud. Put it there. There we are. That's better. They can be somewhat loud, but not too loud, So we can. Yeah, is that good? Yeah, that's good. Okay. So first off, you need to make a decision about who you want to pick from Lohax. I prefer Adam Dude, Coffee, and Rodney, but honestly, it would just depend on who you prefer. Who do you find is the least painful out of the 7 extra characters you didn't pick? So here, I'll go a random and get Rodney, which is perfect, because he actually shows me how evil he is. So obviously, BB's going to jump you here, and what I'll do first is I'll try and solve a game of Thread Sweeper. Here's the thing. Because that way, that was my strat all the way back in the max salvage run, is get that Thread Sweeper out of the way, using the pause menu to your advantage. The only time I would use the pause menu, because I don't know, I just felt like I just can't solve Thread Sweeper otherwise. So call me a cheeser if you will, but I'm the one who beat 40-20. So what do you want me to say? But anyway, you solve Thread Sweeper and knock Toy Freddy out of the night, and this was the kind of pivotal starting point for most runs, even like the max salvage again, because like. You just want Toy Freddy gone, you want some tokens in your pocket just to kind of, keep rolling. Because your biggest threat is going to be, of course, Lolbit. Lolbit is your biggest nightmare because she makes everything in the shop so darn expensive. And so, the primary strat, right from the very get-go, I knew that I was going to have to buy that death coin and get rid of Lolbit, no matter what. So... that's why the tokens are needed, and that's why, initially I wanted to try and beat like 2 games of Thread Sweeper as the thing, and you would notice I closed that right door around about 11 AM, because Withered Freddy first attacks you right there. I don't even really need to worry about that, because we're on jump scare immunity. You'd also deal with like Lefty at this time as well, but he's up in the corner. Lefty's really weird. Lefty is so weird, because he takes like forever. Sometimes it takes forever to move into one of the side spots, and other times he takes like no time at all. So you have to be really careful. So the best way I found to do that was like if Lefty shows up here at 12:11, get to the cameras and get Puppet first. If not, and kind of wait for Lefty to move in, because once you put a vent wall down, Lefty's pathing changes. So you want to keep him. You want to kind of wait for Lefty to naturally work his way down to you. And then you get Lefty. But that's like the kind of minor details. The overall strategy, the initial strategy that I use is what I like to call the coward strat. And it's quite simple. You close both doors. That's it.
This isn't actually live commentary.
Both doors are now closed.
Man, am I glad to see you.
So, both doors are now closed. That means that none of the door animatronics can get in, no matter what you do. Literally no one from the doors can sneak past the doors. So you only have to deal with the office, the cams, and the vents. This is still quite a lot to deal with, but it makes it a lot more manageable. The big problem, of course, is that it constantly drains 2 bars of power. And if you go into the custom night and have no one on and have 2 bars of power for the whole, and just 2 bars of power for the constant, usage, you will get to 2:30 AM before you black out. Now 2:30 AM is not 6 AM, nor is it any time you can reach by using the distortion clocks to your advantage. So that means you need a way to gain power back, or a way to save power. Now initially, this strat actually used what I like to call the gamble strat. And initially, it involved me killing off Lolbit by getting enough tokens, so taking that power hit initially, and then just gambling with Prize King. I would just roll the gamble, because Prize King has a very valuable prize, which is the full power restore. If you get that prize, you're pretty much golden. You're pretty much, like, if you get that prize and make no mistakes, you pretty much won. It is an entire whole, like, particularly if you get like on the very end of your power, it's the whole power bar restored. It's literally the best thing you could ask for. He's also able to give you, like, you know, other items from the shop, like laser doors and snow cones and cupcakes, and even other power stores like 10% and 25%. He can also give you death coins as well. But death coins are very, very rare, super rare. I think I only got them 3 times in my entire Prize King spins. He also gives you the bear trap as well, which is also quite useful in this situation, because for me personally, it is essential to beating the mode. It's essential to beating 4020, because Circus Baby exists. And in case you're unaware of Circus Baby's mechanic, her big thing is that you have to find 20 Biddy Bow to scatter throughout all the cameras before the night ends at 5. Otherwise, she kills you right before the night ends. That's too much of a nuisance. Are we so real? It's too much of a nuisance. So what you can do instead is you can buy a bear trap, and Circus Baby will tank the bear trap at the end of the night. So assuming no one else steals it, wink wink nudge nudge, you're fine. You're good. You're golden. So the main strat there was to kind of gamble on pricing to save the power while saving up enough tokens to clock out at 4 AM with the 2 distortion clocks and the 1 bear trap. Because that makes it 95 tokens that you need here. Because obviously kill Lolbit, everything gets cut in half. So save up enough tokens. So the current strat so far, close both doors, kind of use that power, just use that, grind tokens, beat 1 game of Thread Sweeper, more tokens, kill Lolbit with the Death Coin, and then just kind of gamble on Prize King to gain tokens / keep yourself alive until you have enough to clock out at 4 AM. This strat didn't work for me. It didn't. Initially, I even tried thinking if I could do it at 3 AM, but that boosts your token cost by like an additional 53, because a mimic distortion clock costs 53 tokens, which is quite a lot. And it just didn't work. It didn't work, man. I think that was probably my least successful strategy there, because Prize King just sometimes can be so stubborn. Like, obviously it's luck, you're literally invoking luck to bring in Prize King, but Prize King can be the stubbornest man alive, because he just refuses to give you what you want. And sometimes he'll give you what you want like the worst time. It's like, yeah man, you can give me laser doors when my power's at like 2 or something. It's like, thanks Prize King, I appreciate that. But speaking of which, that's where the next strat comes in. Well, actually no, before that strat comes in with the laser doors, the next strat involves something a little bit more, even more gambling, and it's Scott slots. I'm not even kidding. My solution to my gambling problem was more gambling. So, Prize King wasn't giving me, because one thing that Prize King can give you is some tokens. He doesn't do that too often though, and usually it would be only in values of 1, 5, you know, sometimes you can get like a good jackpot of 50. I hear there's even a 200 jackpot, but I've never gotten that. I think the most I got was like 75 or something. But, you know, if you are lucky enough on Prize King, you can get the tokens. But tokens are your lifeblood in this mode. So, what better way to get tokens than Scott slots? So, I don't think he's going to be nice to me here. No, he's not. Okay, there we are. So right there, that paid me even back. So, even just like looking at the stuff here, you can see that if you just hit a line of all Bonnies, you get 5 tokens back. But you can sometimes hit double lines, triple lines, you know. I mean, the most I've gotten, I want to say, is 100 from Scott slots. And, like, that payout is insane. And so that was when I initially had a double gamble strat, where I would gamble on both Scott slots and Prize King to maximize my chances of getting something good. So whether it be, you know, we gamble here, nothing there, you know. It's like, and that's why the Thread Sweeper initially is so good there, because you have that pocket of 30 tokens to just keep on gambling with Scott slots to give you the tokens that you need, and to keep that, like, to keep your lifeblood alive is the thing. But that's not gonna, you know, that's not gonna save you. You know, you can't just rely on gambling the whole time, because 1, we still have the power issue, and 1, you still have to deal, and 2, I guess, I can't count anymore. You still have to deal with literally everyone else that's attacking you. And the whole time you're being attacked from the mask, you're being attacked from the cameras, you know, you gotta deal with Scrap Baby and and Puppet, you have to deal with the office animatronics in particular. Like, the office animatronics rotation is probably the most aggressive. Like, you can't be on the monoliths for too long, is the thing. But then, jumping over to the power issue. So our big thing was power, right? And initially, I was still trying to rely on Prize King to get that power back, and it just wasn't working. And I was like, I need to be more efficient with this. So then the strategy became laser doors. Laser doors are the best investment to your power that you can make. Just literally, they are straight up the best investment you can make, because they free both doors up. They turn your your 2 bars of usage, constant usage, into nothing. And they only cost 20 tokens when Lolbit is dead, which isn't that much, particularly if you're gaining quite a payout from Scott slots. So the initial strat then became Thread Sweeper, Scott slots gamble, Death Coin Lolbit, buy 1 set of laser doors, and that covers you an hour of power, which isn't enough. Even if you buy 2, you'll just barely not make it to 4. I think if you're very stringent with power, you might just make it to 4 AM, which case you can then clock off with the 2 clocks in the bear trap. That was where the majority of my attempts were, and it was like so tantalizingly close, man. I had so many attempts. I was at like 355, 353. You know, I had one where I literally was off by like frames, man, frames, I tell you. But it just wasn't enough, and I was stuck there for a good bit. I'm like, I just need to get a little bit further, maybe just be a little more safer on power. But no matter what, it didn't work until I figured, why don't I buy a 3rd laser door? Why don't I use the Mimic that's been there the whole time and buy a 3rd laser door? I even tried trying to substitute it with Prize King as well. Like, I had a strat where, like, Scott slots would be my safe gamble, which I'll do when my power was at a substantial enough amount, and when my power was low enough, I'd switch to Prize King to try and, hopefully get a full power restore. That technically would work, it's just that I never got lucky enough to do that. But the 3rd laser door, man, the 3rd laser door was literally the charm I needed. By getting enough tokens from Scott slots and utilizing the 3rd laser door to my advantage, that did it, man. So you see that in the winning run, obviously, in all its full glory, plus everything else that we did as well. But that is like the main premise of the strat is Death Coin Lolbit with the goal to clock out to have 95 tokens at 4 AM for the 2 distortion clocks and the 1 bear trap. And literally everything else you're doing is either protecting yourself from dying or saving power. That's how you play FRICKBEAR'S, but like, that's literally what you need. So for me, that big thing was the laser doors. I never bought the mask, I never bought the snow cone, didn't buy the cupcake. You probably could buy the cupcake and have that investment in the background, but I found the laser doors to be the most active and efficient way to get me to that time. I might have bought some of the power boosting as well, because that becomes like 10 for 10% there. I think that's 10%? That is 10% there, yeah. So that's actually pretty good. The battery pack can save you in a pinch. Would recommend it if that power's looking a little bit too low there. But then comes the minute detail. Then comes the little strategies that learn. So obviously, Endo's a big pain. Getting used to like the sound cues is your most important thing. If you can hear over literally everything. Hear over everyone jumping me. Hey everybody.
A lot has changed between now
Hey Hippo. I think I did actually let Hippo in a couple of times on my runs. Like, he actually was kind of like he was kind of like a nice distraction, I think worst is when sometimes like is with Chica's cupcake is the thing. But Hippo's actually quite nice. He's quite a nice fellow. So yeah, I think that's everything. That's like the strat build up. Like, essentially, like in summary, it started off with like pure gambling with Prize King, and then turned to a safer kind of gambling with Scott slots, and eventually we got that payout, man. Okay, I'm solely gonna include this clip in it in like whatever winning 40-21 it is. Cause I just rolled a double death coin in a row. Which is crazy, crazy luck. It reminds me of the best luck I've ever had in the entire playthrough of FRICKBEAR'S. Because one death coin alone is insane. I gotten 4, I think, total, and 2 of them were just now. So that double, if I just got a full power charge there, that would be legendary. But alas, we'll keep at it though.
You know, for that, so I packed my vision lamp, I put it on the back of the truck, and I drive over to where we had to meet up, which was this old shack a couple counties over. Now, I don't know why he'd asked me to drive so far, but the old shack was stationed right next to this old pond, really big.
I don't know about you, but I could go for some alcohol, simulated gambling, animated blood, and comic mischief.
So I drive over, I meet him over at the old shack. Creepy little shack it was. Covered in mold, the wood was barely leather, spider webs everywhere.
Alright, here's a really cool challenge.
I'd asked him, hey,
Mr. Knight,
Monty,
with
is
the
this
audio
your shack?
your monitor.
I assume he didn't hear me, because instead of answering the question, we hooked over to him and held up this big...
You know, when I play, I don't need any power.
He said,
Hey, Hippo. Could I get a quick hand cooking this here bag of compost in the pond?
now, of course, not much of a mechanic was there myself, so I had to ask, why would you need to fertilize a
I'm
pond?
moving in real time.
And Monty, he looked over, he looked away, he looked over at me again, he looked at the bag, and he said,
Well, there's seaweed at the bottom of the
I'm editing
pond
the save
here.
file so it validates
Good
the
for the
speed
fish.
run.
of course, who am I to question a man who was grown up in the waters? So, I obliged, helped him chuck the bag in the river. I couldn't help but notice.
Jump scared already? I'm falling asleep over here.
Rabbit business. So I asked her, hey, why is the bag so
I thought dead animals. Yeah, dead rabbit. A little rabbit got into the bag.
Look who
You know what?
But against us.
You aren't anything your old skeleton anymore.
A new irritant. Hello there, dog. Oh, security guy. Take it away, my dog. Oh, God darn it. Just squeeze past here.
Man, am I glad to see you. You know, I was thinking recently that we being a children's entertainment restaurant, I think the company should branch into toys. You know, I thought that was an interesting subject, and I thought you could bring it up to the boss. Looking at the children and seeing the toys they bring in, all sorts of wonderful, colorful figurines and collectible action figures and marketable characters. I've thought to myself, you know, a lot has changed between now and when me and Orville grew up back in the 40s. See, back then, safety standards were subpar. And this was made very obvious by a lot of sectors, but more importantly, children's toys were awfully strange. Now, I had a lot of arguments with Orville about this kind of stuff. Specifically, we had this toy set, and it was Orville came from a wealthy family, and they could afford all sorts of expensive goods. He had this set that was specifically for playing with atoms, something with nuclear science. He was a big fan of this stuff. And you see, at first it sounds interesting. Children love learning. Learning is one of the most wonderful things you can do. I love learning every day. I love sharing my stories because learning is just one of the most beautiful, wonderful, magical things. But Orville, he wasn't in it for the learning. He was in it for the other part of the nuclear science. Making the explosions and all those things. So he bought this. His parents bought him this set, and we've been playing with it in his backyard in the mansion. And he was sitting, looking at it. He was like, "Hey, Orville." Hey, I'm sorry. He was like, "Hey, Hippo." And he showed me, and he put the, I believe it was some movie on it. He put it up to another one and created this beautiful, bright blue. And we thought, at first it was wonderful, and then we fell deathly ill. And it turns out, a couple weeks later, after we'd already played with the toy like the toy had been recalled because the scientists had discovered that radiation is. And scientists are wonderful people. I think about scientists all the time. Scientists, they can be. For example, the fellas that brought to the moon, we actually watched the moon landing live television. What happened was triumph. It was one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It was just a beautiful sight to behold.
No!
And Orville thought he's always been a bit of a skeptic. He told me, they're just doing this so they can defeat the Russians. They're trying to tell the Russians, yeah, we won.
Booyah, baby! Booyah! That's a 40-20 done. That's the 40-20 done, man. I'm not even kidding, that was 12 minutes into today's session. That was 12 minutes in. And all it took was just the idea of... Literally all it took was, what if I buy a third laser door? Literally, that's all it took, man. 30 extra tokens and you're fine. That is the 40-20 mode. Not even a single prize king, man. Just the power of Scott's slots gambling. 12 minutes in to today's session. That is crazy. I was just going to do some attempts before I went off to bed, but we did it, man. We actually have done the FRICKBEAR'S 40-20. Of course, that's not the last thing left to do. We still have, of course, the 47-20, but you saw our gameplay there. That was pretty solid. That was, that extra laser door makes all the difference. It really, really does. It's only 30 more tokens. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more tricky with, like, Chipper and stuff. Because he's going to cost 30 tokens as well. So you might have to try and maybe prize king it. Because Rodney isn't too bad. Coffee and Scott I'm chill with. These big three are going to be the big nuisances for 47-20. Sparky, Candy, Pop Goes, by far. But they shouldn't be too awful. Chipper's going to be a real pain, I think, for my strategy personally, but we did it, man. We did the 40-20. Go us. Go us, man. That is... I knew I was on the cusp so many times. I just figured, like, I was just getting so close with just barely not enough power. I'm like, what if I literally buy myself some more power? I have the Mimic Ball. I can buy that laser door. If you got enough tokens earlier, like if you got like an insane amount of tokens, you could end it free. With my strat, you would need like 180 something, I think? No, you would need 123 for the tokens, about 145. About 145 after you kill Lolbit. will be the thing. And it's not counting the other laser doors you have to buy as well. So honestly, like, I cannot recommend Scott Slots enough. Because Scott Slots works really well when you have a significant enough input. Like, you have the tokens flowing in. And you have the tokens flowing in when it comes to the 4020. You literally have the tokens flowing in. And so you can afford to spend $5 on, you know, on just some tokens. You can afford to gamble because the expected value of Scott Slots is insane. You saw some of the rolls I've done, like you can get like, you can spend 5 tokens and get like 80 back. It's insane, you know? So let's do a death update, shall we? Let's do a death update. We are now at 136 hours. As far as I'm aware, that is about 30 more hours of attempts. I think we just finished, we had just hit, just after the 100, maybe about 20 hours. I think we just hit 110 by the time we finished our last video. And that is, of course, at 2,253 deaths total. You can tell I've been putting in the hard yards to the 4020. So Endoskeleton is obviously number 1. He's the biggest nuisance of all time. He's a massive pain. He's just, you know, he takes a lot to get used to. He can sometimes hard to hear. You know, he can screw up at the worst times. Him and the Phantoms make a killer combo. Him, the Phantoms, and Twisted Wolf. Twisted Wolf as well. That's why he's number 2. He's at 148 deaths because he is brutal, man. If you get Phantomed and Twisted Wolf shows up, you're pretty much dead. Game over. Like, you're just kind of dead from Twisted Wolf is the thing. If the Phantoms, if you get Phantomed and Twisted Wolf spawns in. I think I clutched it up like once, I think maybe. If you get very lucky with like seeing the disc and clicking it. But he will kill you. Like him and Shadow Freddy are really bad. Him, Endo, and I think he also blocks. Also him and Dreadbear as well. Dreadbear's like candy speech can sometimes block Twisted Wolf's disc. And so you just like don't know where it is, and it's like, huh? And it's like you have to realize it's behind the thing. Mangle as well is probably the most brutal because Mangle loves to show up on cameras that you need to be on. Like seriously, the amount of times like I needed to be on cam 6 or cam 8 like immediately, and Mangle was like, yeah, I'm here now. They also caused me a fair few bit of Ballora deaths as well. There's quite a few bit of Ballora deaths with Mangle. Because Mangle would show up, like you want to lower the monitor and like to reset Mangle, and she would spawn in just the wrong camera that the last mini rain is on, and Ballora would get you. Funtime Foxy, Plush Trap, and Funtime Freddy are quite interesting. These 4 here, I think I only died to Plush Trap like... Actually, Funtime Freddy got a couple of deaths because he would be your first blackout kill if you didn't use a laser door at any point in the night. Because if you have, because my strat obviously involves, I'll go into my strat more in the intro, so you see the intro, I'll explain what the hell I'm doing, and then you'll see the running run, and then you'll see this. But Funtime Freddy will kill you if you haven't cleared him first. He's the first one to kill you. Then it'll be Plush Trap, unless you like Molten can get you. Like the last person will get you will be Scrap Baby. Because obviously she has that set time once the power goes out. With Freddy, I haven't died to since. I think, I may have had a couple deaths really early on at the start when I was getting used to the door, like the timing. But you want the first door shut at 12:11, and then for me, like the doors remain closed most of the night because laser door is so important. Dreadbear, fair couple deaths. He's really annoying. Toy Chica, again, same thing. Foxy, not really at all. Foxy, I don't think that's primarily Foxy from some other thing, because I never died to Foxy at all. Nightmare Fredbear got a couple. You can, miss him sometimes. Funtime Chica, obviously, you can see all of my gambling deaths. But honestly, like, Scott Slots is the far superior, like, gambling method is the thing. Scott Slots is the far superior, because Prize King has the element of, like, you can die, or, like, you can stuff up relentlessly. Like, you can summon in any of the animal. Like, it's not too bad on 4720, because your only bad option is either Nothing or Chica, rather than Nothing spawning someone else in or Chica. I guess, could you have a situation where you deathcoin someone and then they get brought back into the night by Prize King? Maybe. But yeah, like, Prize King isn't, like, as long as Prize King to me is the gamble of last resort. Initially, it was actually incorporated in my strategy, but I just realized that, like, as much as the risk of Prize King is mitigated by the risk of everyone else in Custom Night, and so it becomes a fair gamble to make, because, like, you know, if you're going to die to anyone else, dying to Funtime Chica isn't that bad. And you can see here that how far down Funtime Chica is, that gamble pays off most of the time. Because all it takes is one full power restore, and you're pretty much on your way home to end the night with. But, like, with, you know, like with Scott slots, there's no, like, worst case scenario, you lose 5 tokens. You get back 5 tokens, like, if you especially if you have laser doors active, like, it takes like one sitting in the office with a mask or something, and you're chill with 5 tokens. That's also why Scott is actually like one of my best picks, because Scott gives you a token per screen, unlike Coffee, which like only gives you a token at the end, and like the others which don't give you tokens. Like obviously, like you would never pick Sparky, Candy, or Pop Goes for a little bit. So your options really are Chipper, Rodney, Scott, and Coffee. I prefer Scott the most because I find him quite chill. He has killed me a fair bit. I think that was mostly beforehand though. That was mostly the General's run. Coffee's a little bit on the risky side because if you stuff up once, that's it. You can get some kind of mean Coffee stuff. Yeah, but Laura got a fair boost there. What did Bonnie as well? He attacks pretty like on the hour every hour, but if you're not careful, Winter Bonnie can really get the better of you. Night Marion got a couple too, actually. Night Marion got quite a boost up. Some of the rare ones, we have Circus Baby with a couple, which obviously means the forbidden. You know, that means you made it to 559 and died without a bear trap. There was one infamous run, I'm pretty sure I have it saved, so I think you'll see it, where I made it to 556. I made it to 5, I just barely crossed the line. I bought the 2 clocks a little bit early, and when I was ticking over, and I thought I could leave Willard Foxy behind. I thought I could not ignore him, and he stole my bear trap at literally the final second, and I died to Circus Baby. It was very tragic, but yeah, we did it, man. We did the 40-20. I'm just to see. I want to see see, it's my highest token still from Fred Sweeper, I guess. That's because like by the Fred Sweeper strat, the Fred Sweeper strat at the start of the night is just solely to get you enough tokens to, well, one, it's to kill Toy Freddy. Technically, I don't actually need to do the Fred Sweeper strat. All it does is it gives you a nice bit of pocket of like a pocket of tokens to gamble on Prize King with. Is the thing, like technically you can just like wait a bit, and like you'll be a little more pressed for power, but like you don't really need to use like the Fred Sweeper because like to hit the token jackpot, to hit the level token jackpots you want for this run, you'll knock out Toy Freddy anyway. Like on previous runs, it was just like, yeah, I need to beat Fred Sweeper to kill Toy Freddy, but now it's just kind of like, yeah. So you can see my high score on slots is 205. So I think that might have been, I don't think that was one of, I think that was one of the runs we done actually. But I cannot recommend Scott Slots enough, man. I really, really can't. It is truly, truly phenomenal stuff. So that is the first milestone knocked out of the way of the FRICKBEAR'S glorious 40-20 mode. And of course that means that next is the big one. It is our final Infernal trophy, our final Forbidden trophy, that's the name. It's the final Forbidden trophy that snuck away from us all that time ago to beat the Infernal 47 mode. And I reckon we can do it. Hopefully it won't be too much longer compared to the wait in between the last episode of our playthrough and this 40-20 victory. I honestly, I want to say I didn't think I'd be making this video, but I've been so close the last couple of days of attempts. I was like, it has to happen. It has to. And it did. It did, man. So go us. So I will see you guys next time for hopefully the 47-20 mode. Until then though, hopefully you have a good one. I'm TheProPlebNoob. Goodbye.